Finding an ancient artifact is often an incredible experience, not just for the person who discovers it, but also because of the fascinating stories that come with it. Some discoveries confirm what we know about history, while others raise new mysteries when they appear in unexpected places. In this video, you'll hear about discoveries that fit both categories along with many more intriguing finds. Let's start in Scotland, where a team of archaeologists made a remarkable discovery in early 2017 while surveying a construction site in Carnoustie. They uncovered a spearhead sword with golden decorations, a relic of the Bronze Age, estimated to be 3,000 years old. The archaeologists who found it described it as the find of a lifetime. The site, originally meant for the construction of 2 new football fields, turned out to be home to a previously unknown Bronze Age settlement that once belonged to the Celts. The sword, still in its leather sheath and wrapped in fur, was discovered at the bottom of a burial pit alongside several other artifacts, suggesting it was deliberately placed there as a votive offering. Due to its remarkable preservation, it is now considered the best Bronze Age sword discovery in British history. Moving to Greenland, we explore an extraordinary artifact discovered in 1885 by a Danish expedition led by Gustav Holm. During his journey along Greenland's eastern coast, Holm encountered an Inuit hunter named Cunit, who gave him a set of wooden maps. These unique artifacts roughly represent the coastline north of Amazolic, an Inuit settlement where Cunit lived. The larger of the 2 maps represents the main coastline, while the smaller one depicts offshore islands. Unlike modern maps, these were never meant for navigation. Instead, they were storytelling aids, used by Inuit hunters to describe their fishing and hunting experiences. Deep grooves on the maps indicate paths where hunters carried kayaks over land, providing practical knowledge for future travelers. This fascinating discovery offers a glimpse into Inuit culture and oral traditions. Another astonishing discovery comes from the Paracas Peninsula in Peru, an area rich in archaeological treasures. In the 1920s, archaeologists uncovered the Paracas textiles inside a necropolis, where they had been used as burial wrappings. More than 400 people were buried in the necropolis between 2,200 and 2,300 years ago. These people predate the Inca civilization by over 1,000 years, and little is known about them. While they are often thought of as a primitive society, their textiles reveal sophisticated artistic design and creative thought. However, the imagery on these textiles is somewhat unsettling. Many of them feature winged shamans flying through the air while holding severed human heads. While this may seem gruesome, scholars believe it symbolizes the shaman's guiding souls to the afterlife. Today, many of these textiles are preserved and displayed in the British Museum. The invention of GPS has made navigation effortless, but centuries ago, sailors had to rely on tools like the traverse board to find their way across the ocean. These intricate wooden devices were widely used in the 15th and 16th centuries for dead reckoning, a method of estimating a ship's location based on speed and direction. A traverse board consisted of 2 sections, the horizontal board with rows of holes, used to record speed in knots, and the compass-like circular board, used to record direction. Every half an hour, a crew member would place wooden pegs into the holes to mark the ship's movement. Over a 4-hour watch, this data was used to estimate the ship's position at sea. Though primitive by today's standards, the traverse board was an essential navigation tool that helped sailors explore the world long before modern technology. These discoveries remind us how much history still lies beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered. Whether it's a Bronze Age sword in Scotland, wooden storytelling maps in Greenland, ancient textiles in Peru, or navigation tools from centuries ago, each artifact offers a glimpse into the past, revealing the ingenuity, culture, and traditions of ancient civilizations. This solved the problem of sailors not being able to write down their measurements, as most of them were illiterate. However, it did not solve the issue of measurements being distorted by factors such as ocean currents or poor record-keeping. As a result, traverse boards were never particularly accurate. No wonder Columbus got lost. Jerusalem National Park is surrounded by walls, some of which contain ancient secrets. In 2011, archaeologists from the Israel Antiquities Authority discovered a tiny, beautifully decorated box inside a crevice in one of these walls, seemingly placed there deliberately. The box is believed to be a relic of the Byzantine era, dating back 1,400 to 1,500 years. Upon opening it carefully, the experts found drawings of 2 figures on a gold leaf background. It is most likely a prayer box, as similar cultic objects were used for prayers outside churches during that period. Measuring barely an inch long and less than half an inch wide, the box was delicately carved from camel bone. While such objects were common in Christian worship at the time, this particular discovery is rare for 5th century Jerusalem. Unfortunately, due to the fading of the images inside, the identities of the two painted figures remain a mystery. You may sometimes hear people joke that they spend so much money on alcohol that they might as well cut out the middleman and have their employer pay them in beer. However, 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, getting paid in beer was a reality. A 5,300-year-old clay tablet, found in the Iraqi city of Uruk, records the practice of paying workers in beer. Aside from documenting this beer-for-labor exchange, the tablet is one of the oldest surviving examples of written human communication. The content of the tablet is essentially a record of beer rations given to an individual worker, making it possibly the world's oldest payslip. This artifact confirms that, even before the concept of currency existed, societies had already established systems of labor in payment. However, one has to wonder if this was an effective system. If workers were regularly paid in beer, productivity might have suffered due to hangovers. The Vikings are well known as fierce warriors, often portrayed as savage invaders who pillaged and looted wherever they went. However, is it possible that they assimilated some of the cultures they raided? A remarkable discovery from October 2017 suggests that might be the case. Archaeologists examining ancient Viking burial clothes found something surprising. The textiles, long thought to bear traditional Viking patterns, actually contained Kiphic script spelling out the words Allah and Ali in silver thread. This prompted a re-examination of artifacts from the Viking boat graves in Uppsala, Sweden, where similar inscriptions were found on other silk fragments. The clothing dates back to the 9th and 10th centuries, adding to growing evidence that the Vikings had more contact with the Islamic world than previously believed. Supporting this theory, in 2009, researchers identified Arab metalsmithing techniques in Viking-era swords, and the previous year, a 9th century Viking grave in Birka, Sweden, yielded a ring inscribed with to Allah. While the Vikings were once thought to have worshipped only Norse gods before converting to Christianity, these discoveries suggest a more complex cultural exchange with the Islamic world. Throughout history, humans have worn armor into battle, but the materials used have changed dramatically over time. Every hard material imaginable has been tried at some point. A fascinating example of early armor comes from 3,600 years ago, when Mycenaean warriors wore helmets made from boar tusks. These helmets, surprisingly elaborate for their time, consisted of a leather base padded with felt for comfort. Slivers of boar tusk were then arranged in horizontal rows across the leather, with triangular pieces forming the upper rows. To complete the design, a circular button made from ivory and bronze was added at the very top. These helmets not only provided protection but also served as status symbols for warriors, emphasizing their strength and rank in Mycenaean society. From ancient navigation tools and mysterious prayer boxes to beer wages, Viking textiles, and boartusk helmets, these discoveries provide incredible insights into human history. They remind us that every artifact holds a story, offering a glimpse into the daily lives, beliefs, and customs of past civilizations. The button on the Mycenaean boartusk helmet would occasionally hold a crest, adding to its warrior-like appearance. The warriors who wore these helmets probably hunted the boars themselves and were expected to make their own helmets. This process would have been extremely time-consuming, as each helmet contained tusks from around 50 individual boars. No piece of medieval machinery or technology was more advanced than the torquetum, although calling it medieval can be controversial. Jabir ibn Afla is generally credited with the invention of the torquetum in the 12th century, but records suggest that a similar device was theorized by the ancient Egyptian mathematician Ptolemy. While Ptolemy may have conceived the idea, it is believed that he never actually built one. The torquetum was an astronomical aid capable of recording coordinates in 3 different ways: elliptical, equatorial, and relative to the horizon. It could also convert data between these classifications automatically, making it a mechanical computing device long before modern computers. Sadly, no surviving torquetum from Jabir ibn Afla's time exists today. The oldest ones known date back to the 16th century, and the invention was so ahead of its time that it remained in use until the 18th century. By then, some of these instruments were even crafted from gold. We began this discussion with a spear-headed sword, so it's only fitting to examine another ancient spearhead. Like the Scottish sword, this artifact is from the Bronze Age. It was discovered in early 2021 on the island of Jersey in the English Channel by amateur metal detectorist Jay Cornick. According to Cornick, this was the luckiest and most valuable find of his life. He uncovered the weapon while scanning a beach near the village of Gorey. The wooden shaft of the spear was made from maple wood, which scientists have carbon dated to be around 3,200 years old. Professional archaeologists say two factors make this find exceptionally rare. The first is that the spear remains fully intact, and the second is that it is unusually large for its time period. Given its massive size, it may not have been practical for hunting or combat, suggesting it could have been used for rituals. Alternatively, one might wonder, was its owner a giant? The evolution of counting happened at different times and in different ways across various cultures. It is likely that early humans began by counting on their fingers, then moved on to making notches on wood or walls when they needed to count higher. This eventually led to the invention of counting boards, like the famous Salamis tablet. This remarkable artifact is 2,300 years old, though experts believe counting boards were in use much earlier. The Salamis tablet is made of marble and has a grid system carved into it, where pebbles would be placed to represent numbers. In function, it is similar to an abacus. The name Salamis comes from the place where the artifact was found, the Greek island of Salamis, in 1846. Based on expert analysis, each pebble represented a number between 1 and 4, while each vertical line indicated powers of 10. It seems complicated, but at the time, it must have made perfect sense. We have already explored one unusual type of armor in this discussion. Now, here is another: elephant armor. This does not refer to armor made from elephant bones but rather armor designed for war elephants. Elephants have not been used in warfare for centuries, but in ancient times, they were a formidable battlefield weapon. Alexander the Great famously encountered war elephants when Persian King Darius III deployed them 2,300 years ago in northern Iraq. Alexander's men, having never seen elephants before, were terrified and fled, believing the creatures to be demons. Over the next century, as armies learned how to combat elephants, the Indian military began outfitting their war elephants with armor. This armor, often made from steel squares woven onto leather, was designed to protect the elephants' weak spots, including their legs and feet. War elephants remained a powerful military tool until the invention of firearms and cannons in the 15th century, which ultimately rendered them obsolete. Today, surviving examples of war elephant armor, many beautifully designed, can be found in museums across India and the United Kingdom. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.